one of the sort of prevailing things I noticed throughout my career was there was this golden age with you three, with Brad, with Tim Howard at the end, with Meola, and then there seemed to be a little bit of a break as far as top goalies. Timmy kind of carried the mantle for a long time, but it seemed like you guys were in this golden era, and then why did it kind of stop for a little bit?
I think there's another thing that comes into that equation is MLS had 8 teams. And then they had 10 teams.
Right, so you only had
if you
eight
have
spots.
5, 6 guys here, then you bring in a foreign goalkeeper, 2 in a few teams. Well, your standard across the board is going to be better.
Yeah.
Now you expand that to 20 teams, 18, 20 teams. Can we produce 14, 15 goalkeepers,
right,
plus have 3, 4 guys maybe in Europe?
Right.
I mean, that's a big ask. And so I
Sure.
think sometimes with just that little bit of dilution, it got a little bit difficult. And then I think it's an anomaly as well.
Sure.
To think at one stage in the Premier League, you had 4 starting goalkeepers, American.
Right.
At the same time, Finland had 3 starting goalkeepers. Finland will never have 3 starting goalkeepers in the Premier League again.
You know, if I can just add on a little bit, you know, between myself and Zach and Joe and Jon Busch, I mean, you have guys that just accumulated a massive amount of goalkeeping experience.
Yeah.
And for us, it was all about timing, right? We came into the league right when it was starting. The opportunities were there. There's only a certain number of international players. But there's only a certain number of international players too, right?
Yeah.
So you can't go kind of splash your international players on goalkeepers. And we had a great reputation at that point. And like Kasey said, we took advantage of the opportunity. And then 2-3 years later, then you have seasoned pros who aren't going to give away those opportunities.
Right.
Ask him if he's going to take off a Saturday to give Joe Schmo an opportunity.
Never.
No chance. I'm not giving that chance.
And I think it's just going to take time. I really think we do have a good wave of the next ones. We did go through a little dearth. I think what happened too is the guys that you were just mentioning, you know, we were all coming to the end of our careers and we weren't giving the opportunities to that next wave. And now we're starting to see the fruits of, you know, and you have to take a few lumps when you start your career.
I think and I'd almost bring a point, you shouldn't be given a chance. You have to take that chance. Mm-hmm. And I think when you have that level of competition, it builds everybody else to be better.
And Kasey, for you, I mean, I was part of this during 2002 World Cup, you and Friedel, but that had gone back many years, and you two were always sort of, and so what was that like, not only in the Premier League, sort of vying for that, but with the national team?
Sure, I mean, it's you always know coming into a camp that you have to be your best. You have to show every day. It doesn't matter if you started, you know, the last 2 World Cup qualifiers, you're coming in and you're not giving anybody any excuse to take you out. Well, look, coaches still might make decisions and might do what they're going to do, but don't put it upon yourself to say, God, I was just not there. I just didn't come in. I didn't perform, and of course I got dropped.
So, Kasey, you played the majority of your career in Europe, and I'm curious how you saw coaching and how they helped develop you, although you were a little more refined by the time you went, and then coaching in America and how that's changed, evolved, and have they kind of caught up to the American system in that way?
So when I got to England, I didn't have my first full-time goalkeeping coach until my 2nd or 3rd year at Leicester City. So I'd already been in England 6 years, I think, before I had a full-time goalkeeping coach.
How would they?
So it was a situation where maybe somebody came in once a week. Maybe you just kind of you'd train with the team. You'd kick the ball back and forth. There'd be a shooting practice. There'd be some kids after training. You'd pull aside to do some stuff. We were getting full-time training. You had full-time training in college. You had full-time training in college. I did.
Right.
You know, so you went to the point where I had better training, goalkeeping-wise, in university than I had in my first 5 or 6 years as a pro.